Hello, friends and readers. This is Kessily Lewel, also known as Sadie Marks. I write power exchange romance novels, basically very steamy relationships with kink. So if that's not your thing, then you are probably in the wrong place. When I started this channel, I had hoped to be more active here than I have been, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm trying to fit things in as I can, and right now I have some news to share for those of you who don't follow me regularly or read my website. I finished my last novel. It's a new genre for me and will probably come out under Kessily Lewel since Sadie Marks has been exclusively sci-fi so far. The daddy dom genre is super hot right now, and I've had people asking when I was going to do one, so I guess you now have your answer. It's a daddy dom novel. It's a contemporary novel that takes place on a ranch with a romance between the foreman and the rancher's daughter. I don't want to give too much away on this one because I expect it to be really popular, but I'll just tease you a little bit. Charlie has been wanting to run this ranch for her whole adult life, so she's really taken by surprise when her dominant ex-boyfriend Sam is put in charge instead. And if she wants to do anything with it, she has to go through him, which means cooperating. The problem is Charlie is a bit of a brat, and the situation has her wanting to fight him constantly. But having him back in her life has also reminded her of the chemistry between them. She's able to surrender to him at night, letting him control her body, fanning the flames of passion that were never completely extinguished. But she refuses to agree to a real relationship, and by day, she tends to treat him like an annoying boss she'd like to get rid of, sassing him in front of the men, disobeying his orders, and setting a bad example for the workers. It drives him nuts, and then one day she goes a little too far. So I thought I'd read you a short passage to whet your appetites for more. This part comes very late in the book, but it was actually the piece that I wrote first. It popped into my head, and I knew I had to write it, but as soon as I put it down, I also knew that I could not start a book this way. This was something that we were going to need to build up to. And I won't lie, I'm really proud of this one. The chemistry is on point, and the characters flowed like they were meant to be together. So I really hope you enjoy this little teaser, but you can let me know if you agree. This book is tentatively titled Reining Her In, and this chapter was from his perspective, though I do write in third person. He let her pull him to a stop, and then turned to stare down at her coldly. That sounds like a whole bunch of not my problem, kiddo. I'm not going to stay here and be disrespected in front of my crew, and I'm not going to follow you around like a nursemaid, scooping you up out of trouble whenever you decide you don't want to play by the rules. If you want this partnership to work, you're going to need to cooperate, Charlie. You're not my father, Sam. It's not your job to get me out of trouble, and I didn't ask you to save me, she protested. Her bottom lip wobbled the way it always did when she was upset. Usually it stirred an urge to kiss her hard and wipe away the sadness, but he wasn't going to let himself be swayed by it this time. I'm not trying to be your father, Charlie, but you clearly need a daddy to keep you in line and blister your ass for breaking the rules, and I can damn sure handle that job. Truth was that he'd been wanting to take the role of her daddy ever since he'd found her on his doorstep, looking like some half-drowned waif out of a Dickens novel and clutching a silly stuffed animal to her chest. There'd been something so vulnerable and helpless about the way she trembled there and fixed her big round eyes on him. It had pulled at every protective instinct he had. The clothes that were plastered and clinging to every curve of her body had made it clear she was all woman. But despite that, there had been this beautiful childlike trust in her eyes, trust that he would keep her safe from the big bad storm and all the memories it had dredged up. Until that moment, he'd never understood what a daddy dom was. Weren't all doms protectors? That literally was their job, at least as far as he'd understood. Everything he'd read seemed to imply something more, but he'd never really been able to figure out the difference. Seeing her like that had inspired an aha moment, and he realized that it was a dynamic he could see himself forming with her. So there you have it, just a short little teaser from my favorite scene in the book. I hope you enjoyed it. I have absolutely no idea when this book will be out. It's far too early in the process for that. I have finished it and edited it, and it's got a long ways to go before it hits the shelves. But you can follow my Facebook pages or my blog, which I will put down below, and that way you'll always be up to date. So thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon.